Hengen is located at Tenyu Mountain, the starting point of the Southern
most
Third
paradoxically
Classic.
beautiful landmark in ancient geography.
This solitary peak was defined by 14 characters in the Classic of Mountains and Seas, with eternal silence, guarding all the secrets about water. Those who want to touch the mountain, we must first confront this liquid city wall. Submerged underwater lies a layer of Chinese clay that has been deposited
seemingly calm
for
water
many
surface
years. Actually conceals whirlpools. Even if they manage to cross the water, the explorers will face even more severe tests. On a 90-degree vertical cliff face, only a few scattered shale rocks provide footholds. The mountains and seas deliberately emphasize that they are inaccessible. This was confirmed at an altitude of 700 meters. Perpetual fog begins to appear here. Visibility drops sharply to within 5 steps. The first combination of water vapor and the formation of rocks in the crevices forms a gel-like liquid. This naturally formed biological barrier makes any dispatch tool slippery and difficult to grip. In front of Shan, all climbing ambitions. Ultimately, we will return to reverence for nature. The existence of some peaks, this was precisely to prove. There are still unreachable realms on Earth. Travel 500 li east from Tenyu Mountain. The Classic of Mountains and Seas is written with a sharp narrative of the Southern Third Classic, pushing towards a more mysterious encirclement. The eastern side of the mountain exposes quartz deposits for a length of 3 kilometers. Gold is parasitic on its surface in a fibrous crystalline form. The western slope fault is covered with dark green snake-like patterns. The translucent Xiuyan jade veins resemble solidified glaciers, deeply embedded in the basalt bed. And the north side of the island over the mountain, water is drawn from the mountaintop and rushes southward. The most bizarre life forms in the Classic of Mountains and Seas were nurtured in the water. The nominations, like mandarin ducks, pierce through the mist. According to legend, those with flesh and blood may encounter hidden illnesses. But no one dared to look directly at those amber-colored tree trunks. Deep in the swamp nourished by water, ancient beings are using their fangs to measure divine essence. Adults use their fangs to pry open slate. Jade pebbles that rolled out of the cracks, rolled into a water tributary by rubber, transformed into the embryo of a 100-mile-long jade beach at the estuary. Between the vertical metal veins over the island mountains, it is home to white-headed birds that puzzled the ancients. Humiliation. Its head was like the blood of the heart. Facial contours subtly reveal human features. The third claw gripped the rock strata tightly. The 3 legs form a stable triangle. Every morning mist sweeps over the mountain. It will then emit a short chirp. The tone is found between mandarin duck and self-name. At the edge of the dense forest at the foot of the mountain, wandering prehistoric immigrants with bronze-colored skin. Youthful. Its skin resembled bronze plates with a clear, translucent patina. Moss grows between the folds. It forms a natural, strong angle with the first prominent scapula. When Qing Temple returned to the depths of the dense forest, the name of the canal, like a bird, hangs between the rock strata. The island returned to silence after passing the mountains. In our perspective, the records of the Southern Third Classic will continue to be published in Dongxing. Continue eastward along the island and over the mountains for 500 The bronze veins were replaced by the red rock layer. The reddish mountains resembled solidified flames. Tear the earth. This is Dangsu Mountain. Fresh water boils up from the mountaintop. I carried the gold dust from deep within the rock strata southward, eventually flowed into the sea, The rocks on both sides of the river were dyed golden yellow. The sunlight shone with a golden glow. Deep within the ever-burning hot mist of Dangsu Mountain, paying for the oldest totem of Chinese civilization, the phoenix used its feathers. It writes the most exquisite natural codes of ancient times. Surface pattern, the appearance of natural and amazing patterns. It actually has the appearance of individual characters. The feather on its head is written with the character. The feathers on the wings are inscribed with righteousness. The feathers on its back are decorated with the word pear. The feather on the chest is written with the word human. A letter was written on the feathers on its belly. Phoenix's famous performance is not a reaction. Its special laryngeal bone resonates with the air. The frequency of the emitted sound waves, the spring that could make Dangsu Mountain boil, temporarily fall silent. Phoenix County is described by the ancients as a Tenkeo temple. It is due to the gentle geological activity, natural signs of the period. Continuing eastward from Nancy Temple, 500 kilometers away, the scorching hot veins were replaced by cold, humid air. We've arrived at Fashuang Mountain. Not a single green leaf can be seen for miles around. But this deathly silent mountain. But it was entangled by countless silvery water veins. The snow on the mountaintop melted into water. It rushed down the bonfire in the early morning. It shattered into hundreds of waterfalls between the cliffs. The abundant water source failed to nourish any plants. Where the mountain stream flows, even the most stubborn lichen refuses to grow. The only sign of life, white clouds drifting from the mountains. These creatures entirely white, beauty at noon. They will gather on the sunlit face. Use your palm to draw mountain spring water, fur under strong sunlight. It shimmered with a mother-of-pearl-like luster. All the waters eventually converged to form the lifeline of Fashuang Mountain, flooding. This great river was born on the south side of the mountain, enveloped in crushed quartz sand. The river water had a rare milky white color. Rushing south, it eventually flows into the Bahai Sea. The river roared, vibrating in the mist. The mountain range of the Southern Third Classic has already meandered eastward, beyond the 400-mile-long cloud waves. This is the most mysterious boundary marker in this episode, Shan. When our footsteps, crushing the putrid liquid that had accumulated at the foot of the mountain for thousands of years. It wasn't just the damp, cold fog that hit us, and those eyes that linger in the secluded corners. The classic of mountains and seas records many strange birds that fly straight to Zai. These strange birds have various shapes and sizes. His pupils gleamed with a cold light. They are not annoying birds, rising at dawn and returning at dusk. He always emerged from the Qing dynasty at the most inauspicious time of day. When the world sweeps across the rock face, it will spark with a faint blue flame. 300 steps south. The earth here bursts open, revealing the wounds of contention. This is the imperial bone that gave birth to the ancient south wind. Pay attention to Linzun's fiery ridges. Every ravine is a mark left by the wind. When the meridian intersects, a stream of air carrying the scent of Hoshida will rise from the bottom of the valley, rolling up gravel in the air, composed of ever-changing totems. The ancients called this place the mother of the south wind, but the wind here never brings warmth. He silently wrote down the emotions, crossing the 12 peaks of Maoshan. Wherever it passed, the grass and trees all shook to the north. It's as if there's an invisible hand repeatedly smoothing out the folds of the earth. Leaving Maoshan, Our torches guided us across 400 miles of scorched earth. This is Shan. This mountain rejects all life. Due to perennial drought? What is seeping from the rock strata is not water. It is a silence frozen for 3,000 years. The original text of the Classic of Mountains and Seas states that many under the banner regret
Warning
their actions.
to those who come after.
These famous geological features are not snakes or horses. The shell of repentance. It has the texture of brittle ironware. The torso is as thick as an adult's wrist. Each segment of the body is adorned with barbs. When the breath opens and closes, the acid used in the construction can rapidly corrode rocks. When they are at rest, new folds will suddenly grow on the entire hillside, always moving close to the ground. This is the survival rule that Shan imparted to life: butcher or death. Leave this place full of regret. On the horizon, 500 miles to the east, but a completely opposite law awaits us. Shan has arrived. This is a paradise of water. Every crack was gushing out floodwaters, without roots to anchor the soil. Iwago directly endured the millennia-old mercury. The absence of vegetation is not due to drought. It's precisely because there's too much water. Any life that tries to take root. The water level will rise 30 times per hour, powdered into fragments. The rock strata here only allow two types of existence: stones and water that crushes stones. 500 li to the east, another form of life surge is erupting. This is Guangshang Mountain. All forest-related appointments will be remeasured. There were no flowers or grass on the ground, not the flat pole of the earth. Look up at these intertwined tree branches. The sawdust branches and leaves absorb 90% of the sunlight. Their roots form an impenetrable wall underground. Even the most tenacious, even wild grass cannot penetrate this dark dungeon. Here, the play with 20 people's purses is the real ruler. See the death embrace of these two ancient trees. It does not calculate battle results using tree rings. The rotting torso of the strangled. It will become nourishment for saints. This is the principle of Guangxiangshan: growth and killing. When this leaf reluctantly fell to the ground, this wooden plaque: today's death quota has been completed. 500 li to the east. Another form of wealth is accumulating on the mountain ridge. Jishan roadside. The Classic of Mountains and Seas says this place is rich in gold and jade. But those shimmering veins are just the tip of the iceberg. They were born from the epileptic convulsions of the mountain. Local slow heat waves and dead-color rock layers. Gold-bearing fluids can tear apart rock layers, like a landmark squeezed out of a window. They were boiled by geothermal heat for 90,000 days and nights. Finally, Yanke tore open the door and crawled out of hell. The crimson patch at the foot of the mountain is the earliest and most vivid color palette. These single items, it is a mixture of iron-bearing zeolite and cinnabar. They dissolve in water. Simply grind. It can then transform into a red ink that will not fade for 1,000 years. From the fish patterns on bamboo pottery jars to the palace walls of the forbidden city. These minerals in the most simple way, imprinting the lifeblood of Shan into the veins of civilization. Now, we can still touch the gifts of the primordial era. Each red grain, All of them solidify the colors of the mountains and the original colors of humankind. About this river was named Blackwater. It has nothing to do with color, his black. It is the ancient people's awe of the unknown forces. Now you can see the monster in the water. Good at. These sharp burrs are their life-saving feature. It can stand upright instantly when in danger, forming a thorny iron net. The ditch was still covered with mucus containing paralyzing toxins. Their throat air sacs can compress air. Low-frequency sound waves released. It sounds like a pig's squeal. When this drop of water sank to the bottom of the river, Linqui 400 li away, the mountains are awakening. This is the fiery boundary marker of the southern third capital. Let the fire of Akiyama refuse to turn to ashes. These underground fires can burn even in heavy rain, spreading in the frost. No hairpin. They survive by eating pyrite crystals in the rock strata. This canyon, which tears the Earth's surface, lies on the southern slope of Linqui Mountain. This is the China recorded in the Classic of Mountains and Seas. They inserted 800 bronze swords into the path, cut the northeast wind into sharp blades. Warmth is delivered every midnight. High-pressure airflow will spray from the cracks in the rocks near the house. Sulfur dust was stirred up, forming a color tornado. These winds do not come from afar. Instead, it allowed Akiyama to breathe. The cooling rock layers at the mountaintop contract and draw out air. The residual heat from the subterranean fire force the airflow to reverse. The entire canyon is merely the throat through which the mountain breathes. On the map that makes Akiyama burn, only fish. It can interpret the symbiotic law of life and despair. Note his mind-bending head structure. 2 pairs of eyes are arranged side by side. The upper double tubes are slender and knife-like, specifically designed to track the flight paths of birds in high altitudes. The lower eyes gleamed with an amber luster. It can see through the reflection of crystals between rock layers 10 jong deep. This visual system? This makes him a hunter of both the sky and the ground. Legend. When his clan collectively appeared in human sight, this means the Earth's water cycle system all day long, completely out of balance, shouting that it's coming soon. As the silhouette of the fish disappears on the horizon, Ling Kaoshen continued to burn silently in the smoke, like an eternal torch planted on the spine of the Earth. Travel 370 li northeast. The scorched earth was gradually replaced by a clear gold color. Lun's Mountain represents another extreme of the Classic of Mountains and Seas. Push it to your eyes. This is a mountain reconstructed by gold mines and chalcedony. Every rock on the mountaintop, they all shimmered with golden light in the morning glow. It seems there are unseen masters. This mountain of ice blades is being forged relentlessly. In a world dominated by metal, the existence of the white tall tree is considered miracle. These snow-white trees are not diseased. Blood-red veins under the bark. It is a mineral essence stored for 30 years. When leaves seeped out from the cracks, the entire mountain forest will be filled with rust. The unique fragrance of honey. The most amazing thing is the chemical reaction between the leaves and the jade. On a fresh night, blood-red veins appeared on the jade. The layoffs have continued to this day, maintaining the habit of containing resin. A thumb-sized piece of gel can provide calories all day long, creates a unique feeling of fullness. When night falls and daylight, Ninja Mountain has completed a metabolism. We walked 580 meters eastward under the cover of darkness. The landscape gradually loses its metallic edge. Yuga Ocean arrived. The mountain lives up to its name. The manuscript is also a dry manuscript. The tomb, its interior as hard as iron, is now a pristine
Vines
ancient
hanging
site,
from the tips of branches.
such as natural lotus wood. The secret to cutting the mountain into alternating light and shadow. The depths of wisdom. A massive creature is moving silently. Their silhouettes were faintly visible in the shadows. The forelegs shook off the dead leaves as they stomped the ground. The long tail rustled as it swept through the bush. The forms of these monsters reflect longevity. Some have bodies like oxen. Yet there are still signs of growth like eagle shoots. Some have heads that resemble those of apes, but covered in sword shadows, scales. Their pupils gleamed with a faint blue light. He cautiously scanned his surroundings. Occasionally it would let out a low growl. And where the stream meanders, the existence of the giant serpent is even more awe-inspiring. These giant pythons have heads that are flat like shovels. With each breath, Shinji could sense the presence beyond several barriers. When they swim, the body undulated like waves. The grass and trees in the area were flattened. Even the act of absorbing water creates ripples. Some large snakes will coil up on steep rock faces, like part of a rock, waiting for the prey to walk into the trap. Every mountain in the classic of mountains and seas. They are all keys to unlocking the ancient world. Monsters and giant snakes of Yugao Mountain. However, this secret realm, the most vibrant protagonist. When our camera traveled 580 miles eastward, that scenic spot overlooks the vast sea. The transformation of Kazamaru into Yoshiki's Nanyu Mountain is right before my eyes. The main peak of this sacred vein, crowned by the true sea, soars into the clouds. The pulse is like an arm, embracing the shimmering blue waves. Those with a warm luster. It is the gold and jade mine described in the book. Traces of geological movements over millions of years. Here, he transformed into a poet of the earth. In the humid areas where streams and tides intertwine, the mythical bird Yuanshu, described in the classic of mountains and seas, is inhabited here. They belong to the same kind as the phoenix. Wansei-shu has a slender figure. The unripe feathers, like crystal, speak volumes. When stretched out, the delicate landscape can be seen. Each bird often skims across the water in pairs. The common saying echoed through the valley. Only in places related to Buddhist lands. Only the petals floated in the air with the airflow. Perhaps it is because of the beauty of Blue Jade Mountain and Golden Jade, the spirit of mountains and rivers. Only then can such a creature, imbued with the essence of the world, be born. Throughout the entire 3 classics for men, there are a total of 13 mountains. Total length 6,530 meters. Each of them is protected by a mysterious mountain god. Flying beasts and flying birds, born with the face of a dragon god. For thousands of years, the immortals believed that his breath was the 4 seasons ship. His scales shook off, turned into gold and jade in the mountains.